dedicated and determined. Those are just some of the words used to describe struggle stalwart Rita Ndzanga. She was remembered today at a memorial service in Soweto. She died last Wednesday, aged 88. She's known and remembered for her role in the fight against apartheid and also the fight for the rights of workers. And she served in the first, second and third Democratic Parliament. Here's her grandson, Lawrence, paying tribute to her.
There's just so many memories, you know. I could never really pick one, but I just loved how caring she was, and I learned true unconditional love from my grandmother, because no matter what mistakes I would do, she would forgive me and she would, you know, teach me a lesson, and I would always come out better for that, you know. And as for her activism, I really think she was an inspiring figure, not only in the community of Snawane, but in South Africa as a whole, for not only just women, but people in general. You know, she was resilient, and I think that's something we can take away from her as well, like through whatever times you're going through, just remain resilient.
Let's bring in our reporter who's at that memorial, Manqoba Mchunu. Manqoba, thank you so much for joining us. Some really beautiful tributes for her today. But of course, the main speaker was Thabo Mbeki. He packed quite a punch. He paid tribute to Rita Ndzanga, saying that's the caliber of ANC that we are known for. Those are the people like her that we need to have once more in the ANC. And he decried the problem of people joining the ANC because they want to get power and money. Talk to me a little bit more about his message and how it was received at the memorial.
Well, certainly, Sally, the former ANC president not holding back any punches as far as the state of the ANC is concerned. He did go into quite detail during his address here, where he talked about the kind of leadership that the ANC seems to be attracting, saying that since the ANC came into power, it has been attracting the wrong leaders within its ranks, leaders that he says are simply using the party as a stepladder to enrich themselves, to get to the echelons so that they can enrich their pockets. And of course, he says that the ANC simply needs to relook this issue. It needs to do a self-introspection as far as some of the leaders within the ranks are concerned, because he says that if the ANC doesn't do this, the ANC will die a slow and painful death. In fact, he says that the party will need to renew itself, Selim, saying that, you know, it simply cannot afford to have corrupt leaders within its ranks. And he says that while it would need to renew itself, that process of renewal will not be an easy one. It will be a painful process, because the ANC will really have to convince the people, the voters that is, because he lamented the fact that here in Soweto, for example, the party seems to have lost quite a number of voters, and this is due to the fact that he says people are seeing that the ANC is no longer what it stands for, no longer what Mama Rita Ndzanga rather, and the other struggle stalwarts had fought for. So that's the reason why he says the party will need to look into itself. It will need to start that process of renewal. And of course, when it does this process of renewal, it will need to do it genuinely, so that people will be convinced that the ANC is the ANC that they are voting for and that they want to see. So he was quite scathing also, in fact, on the issue of those corrupt leaders, saying that it is time that the ANC takes decisive action against corruption in its ranks in order to ensure that the party does not suffer in the upcoming elections. But take a listen to what he had to say when it came to the issue of how the ANC is losing voters and the issue of corruption within its ranks.
There's something that's very, very disturbing, which has been happening over the last few years. That as we go to vote, the number of people in Soweto voting for the ANC keeps dropping. Keeps going down. Including in the last elections. Why is that? We can't say it's the people who are wrong. There's something wrong with us. So I'm not criticizing the ANC, I'm criticizing us. There's something wrong that we are doing, and the population are saying, you are not behaving like the ANC we know. So something must change. I think something must change, first of all, in the way we behave as members of the ANC.
Yeah, I mean, he was saying that if the ANC doesn't change and root out corruption, that it will die. He was speaking to, as he put it, the sort of the loyal foot soldiers, people gathered there to honour Rita Ndzanga, who've been members for decades. How did they respond to his message?
Well, sir, I can tell you that there was a loud cheers from the people that were gathered here when the president addressed those particular issues, because you'll know, Sally, that the ANC has been speaking on numerous occasions about the issue of renewal. They've been talking about the fact that they need to deal with corruption in its ranks. But he says, of course, that's not the picture, according to the voters, more especially here in Soweto. The fact that the voters and the vote or the support for the party is dwindling here simply speaks to the fact that people are still not convinced that, the party is doing enough to renew itself. The party is doing enough to fight corruption. So it was a message that was well received by many of the people. Of course, you do know that, Sally, most of the people that are here were ANC members and people who really, support the ANC. So this message resonated with many of them. But of course, the question, Sally, is, how will the ANC renew itself? And exactly when are we going to see that process unfolding? That remains to be seen at this particular stage. But we do know that it is a crucial issue that the party will have to address, more especially in the lead up to the 2024 elections.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for coming to us live from that memorial in Soweto. That was our reporter, Manqoba Mchunu.